As the clock ticked toward midnight on May 9, 1972, the waters near Haiphong Harbor churned with unease. Amidst the darkness, USS Hanson, a battle-tested Gearing-class destroyer, took her position in the line of battle, prepared for the challenges that lay ahead in Operation Custom Tailor. In the final moments before the new day, Hansen united with her sisters from Destroyer Squadron 31, part of a powerful assembly that marked a historic strike, bringing together the most powerful cruiser-destroyer fleet the Western Pacific had witnessed since the days of World War II. Under the guiding hand of their commanding officer, Captain Zartman, the ship slipped into formation. At 3:45 a.m., the leader's voice cut through the tense silence, his words crackling over the Navy Red Channel, quote, "Mark Point Alfa." In an instant, the 5 warships pivoted as one, their guns aligning with razor-sharp precision on their primary target, Cot B Airfield, a vital hub for North Vietnamese aircraft and military operations. Forged too late to prove herself in the battles of World War II, USS Hanson proved herself in Korea, and now in Vietnam, she was about to carve her name in the pages of naval history. In May 1950, destroyer USS Hanson returned to Norfolk from Gibraltar after a lengthy Mediterranean deployment with many elements of the Sixth Fleet, among them the heavy cruiser USS Newport News, when she was told to change home ports to San Diego. However, before this could be finalized, on June 25, 1950, conflict erupted on the Korean peninsula, and USS Hanson's orders quickly changed. With war on the horizon, the vessel bypassed her new home port and headed straight to Pearl Harbor, joining TF-77 bound for Busan to escort United States Marines to the war zone. USS Hanson, a Gearing-class destroyer of the United States Navy, was named after First Lieutenant Robert M. Hansen, a distinguished Marine Corps aviator and ace. She displaced 3,460 tons at full load, measured 390 feet 6 inches in length, and could reach a top speed of 35 knots. The ship had a complement of 336 officers and enlisted personnel. She also had a powerful yet versatile armament, including 6 5-inch dual-purpose guns and 3 twin mounts, 12 40mm anti-aircraft guns, 11 20mm anti-aircraft guns, 10 21-inch torpedo tubes in 2 quintuple mounts, and even depth charges for anti-submarine warfare. Initially launched in 1945, USS Hanson finished construction too late to join World War II. However, it would not be long before she got her first taste of combat. USS Hanson was soon amid the Korean War, where she and 300 other warships participated in amphibious operations at Incheon on September 15, 1950. The tides at Incheon dangerously fluctuated between 30 to 40 feet, and the fierce currents made it exceedingly difficult for troops to get ashore. In addition to this danger, anti-ship mines all over the area posed a tremendous hazard, prompting the posting of extra lookouts aboard Hanson to locate and destroy them using her anti-aircraft guns. During her second deployment to Korea, beginning in September 1951, USS Hanson engaged in several critical operations along the East Coast. Yet, one close call nearly took her down to the deep, along with her crew. On the evening of October 7, 1951, Hansen and the heavy cruiser USS Helena fired at targets close to Hungnam Harbor, following instructions from shore spotters. Meanwhile, the destroyer USS Ernest G. Small and battleship USS Missouri remained a few miles offshore, delivering long-range fire support and avoiding the risks posed by mines and coastal defenses closer to the harbor. As the evening progressed, Hansen's gyro began to fail, rendering her unable to fire accurately. In a swift and urgent tactical move, Ernest G. Small received orders to switch positions. No less than 5 minutes after taking over, at 6:01 p.m., Ernest G. Small struck a mine. With this, a massive explosion devastated the ship, blowing off her entire bow and causing more than 50 injuries. The accident forced her to retire to Sasebo, Japan, sailing stern first for emergency repairs before returning to the United States. After this close call, USS Hanson continued her active service during the Korean War in various operations, participating in shore bombardments, search and rescue missions, and Formosa patrols until July 1953. In subsequent years, Hansen deployed annually with the 7th Fleet, conducting patrols, maneuvers, and anti-submarine training. When not deployed, Hansen trained out of her home port, San Diego. On April 1, 1964, she entered the San Francisco Naval Shipyard to undergo fleet rehabilitation and modernization, aimed at extending her practical life as a fighting ship for many more years to come. With her conversion complete, in early 1965, USS Hanson rejoined the Pacific Fleet as part of a Destroyer Squadron force, heading to the Far East for the Vietnam War in early summer. She shelled enemy targets ashore in July, patrolled and fought in Vietnamese waters until late autumn. She also joined the famous Operation Sea Dragon in 1967, targeting enemy logistics. Through the years, she also escorted carriers, conducted search and rescue missions, and enforced the naval blockade during Operation Market Time. But by 1972, the war had raged for 10 years, leaving both sides weary and battle-fatigued. In the spring, while the U.S. halted bombing and reduced ground forces, North Vietnam launched the 120,000-man Easter Offensive as peace negotiations stalled. With the situation critical, in early May, President Nixon agreed to mine Haiphong Harbor, the primary port for North Vietnam's military supplies and aid from the Soviet Union and China. One day before the launch of operations on May 8th, most of the command element was lost in a helicopter crash, leaving the mission's conduct to the individual ship captains. On May 9, 1972, simultaneous to a televised announcement by President Nixon, the first of two operations, Pocket Money, began. 4 destroyers launched a high-speed attack on the Do Son Peninsula, while aircraft from USS Kitty Hawk struck Nam Dinh. At 9 a.m., Marine and Navy aircraft from USS Coral Sea dropped Mark 52 mines at Haiphong Harbor, set with a 3-day delay to allow ships to leave before activation. The following day, operations in the area would continue with Operation Custom Tailor, with USS Hanson taking center stage. By nightfall, nearly all elements of Destroyer Squadron 31 were in place to execute another audacious raid, primarily to neutralize hostile shore gun batteries and clear the way for ongoing aerial mining missions. This convergence of forces over the past few days marked a historic strike, assembling the most powerful cruiser-destroyer fleet in the Western Pacific since the days of World War II. Around 1 in the morning on May 10, 1972, the battle-ready ships of Desron 31, destroyers USS Buchanan, USS Miles C. Fox, and USS Hanson, caught sight of their flagship, the heavy cruiser USS Newport News. Positioned just 45 miles south of the Do Son Peninsula, Newport News, which had previously served with Hansen during the Korean War, had arrived in the Gulf of Tonkin less than a day earlier after departing Naval Station Norfolk in Virginia back in April. This veteran ship, callsign Thunder, boasted a rich history dating back to the late 1940s. As the United States Navy's last active all-gun heavy cruiser, her most striking feature was her array of 9 8-inch 55 caliber guns mounted in 3 triple turrets. This impressive arsenal could rain down 90 shells a minute on targets over 30,000 yards away. Earlier that day, staff officers had boarded the flagship to brief the cruiser's commanding officer and Desron 31's leader, Captain Walter F. Zartman. They delivered the original operation plans, slightly water-damaged but salvaged from the helicopter crash. With this, Zartman summoned his executive officer, Commander Robert Leverone, and together with the staff officers, they pored over the plan, strategizing how to best accomplish their mission with their assigned forces. Moments after Newport News was sighted, the final twin warships slated for Custom Tailor, light cruisers USS Providence and USS Oklahoma City, glided into position nearby. With this, Operation Custom Tailor was primed and ready to unfold. With the clock ticking towards 2 a.m., Captain Zartman reached out to Commander James Thurl, skipper of USS Buchanan, via Navy Red ship-to-ship radio. Thurl, a battle-hardened naval leader and one of Zartman's most trusted comrades, answered the call with quiet authority. His response terse but powerful, quote, "Follow me." Without hesitation, Zartman complied, and all ship commanders in Desron 31 followed Thurl's instructions as he deftly guided the group northward in a swift and calculated maneuver that ensured the vessels were optimally positioned for the impending action. Once this move was complete, Zartman issued his next set of orders. First, he dispatched USS Miles C. Fox further northeast to act as a blocking element against potential enemy patrol boats and to cover the formation's rear. He then commanded the remaining ships to form a single-file line, with Newport News as the lead, followed by Buchanan, Oklahoma City, and Providence. At the very end of the formation, the destroyer USS Hanson took her position. Steadily, she entered Haiphong Harbor last, her guns primed and ready to engage her targets, already visible through the distance. As each vessel fell into place, the air inside the ships grew thick with tension. The crews, fully aware of the dangers that lay ahead, readied themselves for the imminent mission. At 3:45 a.m., Captain Zartman's voice crackled over Navy red in all the ships with a simple command, quote, "Mark Point Alfa." Instantly, the 5 warships pivoted to the firing course, their guns aligning with the raid's primary target, Cot B Airfield, a critical base for North Vietnamese aircraft and military operations. 2 minutes later, the night sky over Vietnam erupted in a blinding white flash as all ships in the American task force opened fire. Within seconds, the experienced gunners aboard the flagship Newport News unleashed a torrent of firepower. 77 colossal 8-inch shells and 40 5-inch rounds hurtled through the sky, shaking the earth as they violently crashed upon the facilities. Simultaneously, hundreds of rounds from the 6-inch guns of the 2 light cruisers and the 5-inch guns of the cruisers and destroyers pounded enemy targets across the Dosan Peninsula. The air filled with the deafening roar of explosions, the acrid scent of gunpowder, and blinding flashes of light, creating a chaotic and fearsome spectacle for the enemy forces. Amidst this storm of destruction, USS Hanson's effectiveness stood out among Desron 31. The Gearing-class destroyer's primary mission in and around Haiphong Harbor was to suppress hostile shore batteries, enabling aircraft to continue mining the harbor's entrance and allowing the cruisers to concentrate their fire on assigned targets. Hanson's crew worked like a well-oiled machine. According to official records and personal accounts, each time North Vietnamese shore batteries opened up, Hanson's counter-battery fire swiftly silenced them. The destroyer's deck vibrated beneath the crew's feet as their 5-inch guns fired again and again. In less than half an hour, Operation Custom Tailor concluded without a single ship hit. Captain Zartman surmised that the overwhelming gunfire from the cruiser and destroyer task force had forced most North Vietnamese gunners to seek cover. By the time they returned to their positions, the task group was already retiring to sea. Nonetheless, as the American ships steamed past in the darkness, North Vietnamese forces manned their positions once more and began to fire numerous shells at the column of retreating ships. The rumbling of explosive blasts from incoming rounds continued to echo through the ships as they steamed back toward the Gulf of Tonkin. As for USS Hanson, as the final ship in the formation, May 9th etched her name in history, as she became the last United States Navy vessel to leave Haiphong Harbor after a decade of operations. The events of those 2 days of operations at Haiphong Harbor and the subsequent mining of North Vietnam's other major ports effectively cut off the country's seaborne shipping, directly reducing supplies for the North's offensive in South Vietnam. During this critical moment in the war, despite operating with a depleted command staff due to a tragic accident the day before, the destroyer and cruiser task force provided strategically important firepower, where seamen of all ranks worked together seamlessly, as if they'd been practicing for weeks. After Operation Custom Tailor, as the Vietnam War wound down, USS Hanson continued to serve in various capacities. She carried out search and rescue operations, supported naval gunfire missions, and provided escort services for aircraft carriers and other important vessels. On January 8, 1973, the Paris negotiations resumed, and negotiators signed a ceasefire several weeks later. For the rest of the year, the ship remained active in the Pacific Fleet, maintaining readiness for potential combat scenarios until December of that year, when the Gearing-class destroyer USS Hanson, the last to exit Haiphong Harbor, was officially decommissioned.